How would you describe yourself? Who are you? And I am an extension of my father's career, that's the way I would put it. My father was my hero, my best friend. Unfortunately, we lost him in 2018. Booty grew up with my father. And my first memories are when he was the shop foreman for Gene Winfield. They would become models. My dad would bring the models home. And then as a kid, I was building the same cars that I watched Hen the Crew build. Chip Foose rose to fame through his talent in car design and success of his hit show Overhaul. But as he juggled fame and business demands, he found himself facing one of the hardest chapters of his life. While the world saw a smiling man on television, Chip was dealing with personal struggles. From the quiet end of his 30-year marriage to the painful loss of his father, he endured losses that took a heavy toll on him. Join us as we discuss the heartbreaking tragedy of Chip Foose. Prior to Chip Foose becoming a household name in the car world, he was just a young boy trying to follow in his father's footsteps. Today, we know him as the designer behind some of the best custom cars and the face of the hit TV show Overhaul. But like most success stories, his began with a few bumps along the way. One of them was an unforgettable car crash that left a mark in his early journey. In a past interview, Chip shared a story that took many fans by surprise. It was about a young version of himself, a classic Rolls-Royce, and his father's 1956 Ford pickup. It all happened during what was supposed to be a simple, exciting first driving experience. The day that he taught me to drive was his 56 pickup that was overhauled form, but I drove that all around the airport property, and when I came in to park it, it had stock wheels on it and I had my foot on the brake and I'm using my body weight to try and turn it. And when I'm pulling on the steering wheel, my foot slipped off the brake, landed on the gas, lit up the back tires, and I went right into a Rolls-Royce. And what did your dad do? He reached over and shut the truck off cause he was with me, and he says, well, you got 3 cause I hit the port or I hit the rolls and I shoved the rolls into a Porsche. It rolled in another CARYES.TO. Understand the story fully, it is important to note that Chip's father, Sam Fouse, was not only a talented car builder, but also the person who introduced Chip to the world of cars. Growing up around his father's workshop, Chip quickly developed a passion for vehicles. That passion would later turn into a full career, one that gave the world many iconic designs and unforgettable TV moments. Back to the history. Chip was still very young when he got the chance to take his dad's truck out for a drive. The truck was a 1956 Ford F-100, a special vehicle in their family. Sam stored it near an airport hangar where he kept other classic cars. On that day, Chip managed to drive the truck around the open space without any problems. But when it came time to park it, things went wrong. Apparently, the truck didn't have power steering, which meant it needed a lot of strength to turn the wheel, especially at a stop. Chip tried his best to crank the wheel, but during the struggle, his foot slipped off the brake and hit the gas pedal. As you would guess, what happened next was a disaster. The Ford pickup crashed into a Rolls-Royce. The force of the crash pushed the Rolls-Royce into a nearby Porsche. This meant 3 cars were involved in the crash, and all were damaged in seconds. Chip, shocked and scared, didn't know what to expect from his father. But Sam didn't yell or get angry. He calmly reached over, turned off the truck, and said something that stuck with Chip forever. Well, you got all 3. That one moment could have ended Chip's love for cars, but it didn't. It became a learning experience. Instead of punishing him, Sam turned it into a lesson. Chip later said that this kind of support from his dad shaped his future. It taught him that mistakes happen and that the most important thing is what you do after. Years later, that same 1956 Ford pickup made an appearance at SEMA 2022. Chip had restored it into a modern build, mixing family history with professional skill. The truck, now a shining example of craftsmanship, stood proudly at the Foo Design booth, but to Chip, it was more than just a showpiece. It was the truck that helped launch his journey. According to the information available on Fouse Design website, Chip actually bought the truck from his father when he was just 13. Although it's not clear if that was before or after the crash, one thing was certain. The truck means a lot to him. He now plans to pass it down to his own son, Brock, hoping to keep the family tradition alive. Although Chip's car crash was a bittersweet chapter in his life, a far more devastating event struck in 2018. It was one that left a lasting impact on him. His father, Sam Fouse, lost his fight against health complications. But before we get into that fully, let's know a few things about the legend. Sam started his journey in Korea, where he found out he had a knack for repairing army vehicles. After returning home from serving his country, Sam married his wife, Terry. Together, they raised 4 children. Sam's passion for cars didn't end with his military service. In fact, his next step would become a major part of his legacy. He began working at AMT, a well-known company in the automotive world. There he teamed up with another car legend, Gene Winfield. The two worked on building full-scale concept cars, race cars, and even vehicles for television shows. Some of the most famous TV productions they worked on included Get Smart and Star Trek. As the years went by, Sam built a strong name for himself in the custom car industry. His hands-on skills, eye for design, and work ethic earned him respect from others in the field. But one of his proudest achievements was passing down his passion to his son, Chip Foose. Chip watched his father work, learned from him, and slowly began following in his footsteps. By the early 1990s, Chip had started making a name for himself in the automotive design world. His talent was clear, and so was the influence of his father's teachings. Over the years, Sam and Chip worked together on several projects. They shared a deep bond, not just as father and son, but as craftsmen who spoke the same creative language. Whenever a new project came up, it wasn't unusual for the two to team up and bring it to life. When Chip got the opportunity to host his own TV show, Overhaul, it made perfect sense for Sam to be involved. Sam joined the build team using his years of experience to help restore and create amazing cars for the show. Sadly, Sam passed away on November 28, 2018. His death was a huge loss to the custom car world. Those who knew Sam remember him for more than just his skills. He was known for his sense of humor and the incredible talent that helped shape a generation of car builders. His legacy lives on, not only in the cars he helped create, but in the lessons he passed down to Chip and the entire automotive community. Prior to Sam's passing, Chip was already going through a rough patch in his marriage. He was on the verge of losing everything he loved, his wife, Lynn Fouse, his kids, and his business. But let's take height from the very beginning. As opposite to what many know, Chip didn't become famous overnight. His path was filled with struggles. He faced doubts, financial constraints, and setbacks that could have made him quit. But through it all, one person stood by him. His wife, Lynn Fouse. You see, Lynn was a major driving force behind Chip's success, someone who believed in him long before the world did. Back when Chip was in college, he was already passionate about cars. Chip had to drop out. It was a tough time. He felt stuck, unsure of how to move forward. But Lynn never gave up on him. She knew he had something special. To motivate him, Lynn made a rule. No college degree, no marriage. This meant Chip had to strive if he wanted to have Lynn as his forever partner. Lynn's rule gave Chip something to think about. He knew he wanted to be with her, so he made the decision to return to school. Chip re-enrolled and took engineering classes. He spent his days attending lectures and his nights and weekends working on cars. It wasn't easy, but he pushed through. The hands-on car projects helped him stay connected to what he loved, while the classroom taught him the technical side he needed. In 1990, Chip finally began a degree. It was one of the proudest moments of his life. Right after that, he asked Lynn to marry him. And as you would guess, she said yes. After getting married, Chip's career started to grow. He joined Boyd Codington's Hot Rod Shop, one of the top names in the custom car world. Working there helped Chip gain more experience and hone his skills. In the late 1990s, Chip decided it was time to start his own company. And as usual, he wasn't alone. Lynn rolled up her sleeves and helped him build food design from the ground up. While Chip worked on the cars, Lynn took care of everything else. She handled the books, the schedules, the clients, and the paperwork. She was the reason things stayed organized and professional. Fast forward to 2004, the Fouses experienced a major turnaround when TLC launched the car restoration show Overhaul. On the show, Chip and his team surprised people by secretly taking their cars and giving them a complete makeover. The concept of the show was an immediate hit. People love the emotional stories and the incredible transformations. Most of all, they loved Chip's calm personality and the kindness he showed to everyone. By season 3, the show was pulling in over 1.5 million viewers each week. The show ran for 136 episodes and made Chip a household name. Car lovers saw him as an artist. His designs were clean and elegant. With the success of the show, Chip got numerous opportunities to work with major brands in the industry. People wanted to learn from him and companies wanted to work with him. But as he happily stepped into the spotlight, so did the pressure increase. His filming schedule became demanding. He had to travel often, moving from one city to another. Some days he worked up to 18 hours on set. The long hours meant that when he finally got home, it was already too late to spend quality time with his family. Lynn had undoubtedly supported Chip from the very beginning. She stood by his side, helped him chase his dreams, and even helped him run the business. But as the years passed, the romantic times they once shared began to disappear. Chip was no longer around like he used to be. Their conversations became shorter. Family dinners became rare and important events came and went without him. One of the moments that hurt Lynn most was the night of Katie's first school play. Chip couldn't make it. Lynn sat alone in the crowd trying to keep a brave face as the lights dimmed and the performance began. On stage, Katie beamed with pride, occasionally glancing into the audience, searching for the familiar face of her father. But his seat stayed empty. The smile Katie wore on stage didn't hide the slight hesitation in her eyes. As Chip became more successful, he found himself caught in a cycle of work and travel. With no time left for his family, Lynn started to feel neglected. Despite her love for Chip, the lack of balance in their lives created a growing distance between them. By 2012, the signs of strain in their marriage became hard to ignore. Chip's dedication to Overhaul, along with other business ventures, kept pulling him away. Occasionally, Chip tried to make up for lost time. He would plan short getaways or surprise his family with thoughtful gifts. But even those gestures began to feel like a routine. What Lynn wanted was time, and that was the one thing Chip no longer had. He was caught in a loop of responsibilities that seemed never-ending. Things got even harder when Chip started working on side projects outside of Overhaul. He partnered with different car companies, launched new product lines, and took on speaking gigs across the country. Each of these projects added more strain to an already fragile home life. Lynn grew tired of being the one who always adjusted. For years, Chip had been told that hard work was the only way to make it. And now that he had made it, he didn't know how to stop. Despite everything, Lynn remained patient. But patience has limits. She needed more than a husband who came home exhausted and was gone again by morning. She needed someone fully present. The emotional gap between them continued to grow. And by the time they both realized how far apart they had drifted, the damage had been done. In late 2019, Lynn Fouse filed for divorce from Chip in Orange County Superior Court. After nearly 3 decades of marriage, the quiet filing marked the end of a relationship that had seen both personal and professional highs. However, unlike many high-profile divorces, the Foose involved no media drama and official press releases. It happened quietly, just as Lynn had lived most of her life. Filing for divorce was a decision she made after years of feeling neglected. For Chip, the divorce was devastating. He had always spoken fondly of Lynn and the role she played in his life. When she left, it wasn't just the end of a marriage. It felt like the collapse of everything he had built his life around. In interviews after the split, Chip didn't try to hide his pain. He talked openly about how lost he felt. The man who had built dream cars for others now struggled to put his own life back together. He described the experience as a storm that shook everything. Emotionally, he was drained. His health took a hit. Mentally, he found it hard to stay focused. Designing cars, something that once brought him peace and joy, started to feel like a burden. The divorce had taken a toll not only on his heart, but also on his work and his sense of self. Some days he admitted it felt like he had lost everything. In the interview, Chip reflected on the mistakes he made, particularly the way he put his work ahead of his family. He said, "You think you're doing everything for your family, but sometimes you don't see how much you're leaving them behind."